Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm here with Neil Grindle from Kincaid Coach.
Correct.
Who's a fascinating guy, by the way. I think we're going to learn something here. Now, I'm having a brush with culture with Neil. Neil, now Kincaid Coach is not just a typical coach firm, is it? You guys do organized trips and casino trips and things like that?
We've actually been in Bay County since 1989.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
As we started here as PYT, Professionally Yours Tours, and merged with Kincaid in 2003. So we've been constantly operating since 1989. We do a lot of casino work across to Biloxi and also to Atmore in Alabama.
Atmore in Alabama, they have casinos up there? I'm not a gambler, so I don't know.
Wind Creek is another casino up there, and we operate up to that one. But we also carry most of the schools at some stage during the year to sporting events or cultural events or
class trips, things like that.
Class trips, things such as that.
Senior trip, you do all that?
Yeah. We're also the preferred carrier for Gulf Coast Community College, and we carry all of their athletic teams all over
How cool is
the Eastern United States.
Now, you're a driver there, right?
Yes, yes.
And have you taken any of those sports teams to places?
All the time.
How are they as passengers? Are they like more fun than a barrel of monkeys?
They are.
They
are. And I love sport, so that makes it so much easier.
Do you get to watch the games when you go?
Yeah.
Kind of a cool little perk.
I know that a couple of the Gulf Coast coaches, think that I'm their number one supporter.
Are you a face painter too?
No.
Go Gulf Coast.
No, I do. I love to go along and see the games when we're carrying the teams. You develop a fairly close relationship with the teams when you carry them regularly.
Yeah, I suppose you do. Now, what about the coaches and buses and things that you have there? I guess they're fairly comfortable.
Oh yeah. I mean, the coaches that we have, they're 54, 56 passenger coaches. Very, very comfortable. I mean, coaches these days, they're computer controlled. Everything is just absolutely beautiful. And we constantly look after them to try and upgrade them and make them, what the customers want.
Now, you don't have to be a big institution like Gulf Coast State College, sorry guys, Gulf Coast State College to avail yourself of your services. You have smaller coaches, don't you?
Not here in Panama City, but we do in our company. At the moment, we're trying to get hold of some smaller coaches to look after the interests of smaller groups that 24, 25 people that, they can use the larger coach. And we always try to do our best to make sure that everybody can use our coaches as far as from a financial aspect.
I want to hear some more coach and bus stories after the local weather, because I know you got them, Neil. I know you got stories. And we're going to get them out of you after your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm, westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Neil Grindle from Kincaid Coach. Kincaid Coach. Yeah, I talk for a living, Neil. How about you? Maybe I should drive. We should trade jobs. You're doing better than me today on TV. But we were talking about some of the stories that you might have, because when you're taking these high schools around, you got senior trips and all that, and you've got one coming up soon, don't you?
We're taking Bay High to Chicago. Now, the Bay High band are actually marching and performing in the McDonald's parade at Thanksgiving. So we've got 4 busloads of high schoolers going up to Chicago. We leave on Sunday, the 23rd.
Oh man!
So by the time this airs, we'll be
pack
back
your
again.
mucklucks. It's going to be cold.
So we take bands and football teams all over the United States, but as we were talking before, it's not just the high schools. We also take middle schools. We take the juniors. And last year I was down in Orlando, and we took one of our special needs schools down to Orlando, and they all developed a need to be with Mr. Neil for the whole trip. So the chaperones were off wandering around doing their thing, and
the bus
here I
driver had
was
all
with
the kids.
14 kids walking around in Epcot. So, but we love it.
I could see how special need kids would like that, because you know, you're kind of a rock star in that world when you're driving a big bus.
Well,
you know?
that's exactly right. And
Yeah.
you know, ooh, look at this, look at this. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's hear it for the bus driver.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we really enjoy what we do, and I mean, all of the school groups that we carry here, they're just wonderful. And then, not only that, we carry a lot of the older people as well. We're getting into the snowbird season now, and we carry a lot of the older groups of people that they're down here for 2-3 months of the year, and they want to do something a little bit special. So, you know, we've got a couple of other little.
And maybe they don't want to drive. You know,
they don't want to drive. They've just driven 3,000 miles to get down here, so they want to sit back and be driven somewhere. So we take them to various places. We've got tours across to New Orleans. We've got tours to Savannah, in Georgia, and we're taking them all over the place.
That sounds awesome. Now, do you have more fun with the kids or with the snowbirds? Are they both kind of
Personally, I have more fun with the kids. But the older people are great as well. I mean, they are just looking to have fun.
Did you ever have a problem on the bus? I mean, I know when I was a kid in junior high school back in 1970s, whatever it was, you know, we went on a ski trip and we got stuck in a snowstorm in a ditch, and it was a big party for us. Us kids were like, yeah, we're stuck on a bus for 6 hours. Ooh, you know. It was before the days of, you know, cell phones or anything.
Yeah, we don't have too many issues at all.
Not a lot of snow down here either.
Not these days, but I mean, earlier this year I did a trip across with another driver up to Colorado, and we took a group of kids up, and they had summer camp in Colorado. And believe me, by the time that trip was over, we got to know the kids fairly well.
Yeah, that's a long haul.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
It's a long way.
Well,
so, yeah.
Neil, if somebody wanted to learn more about Kincaid Coach or get on one of these tours, what do they need to do?
They can either just contact us at our website, it's kincaidcoach.com, or they can call us at the office, and I think you're going to flash up the
we'll
number.
do all that.
Yeah. And we'll answer any of their questions. And if anyone is in a sporting group or a community organization or something, we also work very closely with a lot of sporting groups, community organizations in fundraising.
Neil Grindell from Kincaid Coach, thanks so much for coming on the show and chatting it up with us.
Not a problem at all.
Keep them rolling, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is David Lovett, and this is your Mad Hatter Minute. The engine coolant can be best described as the lifeblood of the motor. Antifreeze, also known as engine coolant, is a fluid that helps maintain optimal engine temperatures, and it has to be changed from time to time. Keeping your antifreeze fresh is very important. Over time, the inhibitors in the antifreeze that keep your car from overheating start to break down and lose their properties, and that's when problems begin. First, the obvious. Your vehicle is likely to overheat, especially in the summertime. The extreme heat created by the engine combined with the extreme outside temperatures can result in an overheating condition which can cause some serious damage to your motor. Secondly, in wintertime, your car is not protected from the cold. Freezing temperatures can cause the coolant inside your vehicle to freeze and expand, which could crack your engine block. Lastly, a condition known as electrolysis can form. Your vehicle actually generates electricity. Your engine is protected by the inhibitors in the engine coolant. When the inhibitors begin to break down, your protection is lost, and your engine block starts to corrode from the inside out. You have to change your engine coolant in accordance to your manufacturer's recommendation. Most vehicles today have extended life coolant, which means that the coolant can go for 100,000 miles. Check your owner's manual or ask a trusted auto repair facility when you should have your coolant exchanged. I am David Lovett, and that has been your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hey folks, this is Joshua Brown with Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. Is your check engine light on? If it is, text MADHAT28, that's MADHAT28, to 24247.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Heather Noyes from Raymond James Financial, and we're going to get some holiday tips on investing, or maybe make us a little bit smarter. What do you say, Heather?
Well, I think this time of year is always a fun time of the year for lots of different reasons. But one thing that is a term that we use in our industry, maybe you're not familiar with, is what we call the Santa Claus rally.
The Santa Claus rally, and that is not like guys dressed as Santa Claus at a rally. This is actually a stock market rally, right?
Exactly. So usually the last 5 trading days of the year and then leading into the first couple trading days of next year, we usually have a pretty substantial rally. And in fact, I brought a little chart for to show also that over the past 50 years, the Dow has averaged about a 1.5% return for the month of December. December is also ranked as the second highest month of all of the months, and in terms of percentage gains.
Why is that, though? Is that because people are buying and the economy is more stimulated, or is it just a state of mind, or what is that all about?
Well, this year the economy is definitely stimulated. We have lower oil prices. That's helping to stimulate the economy. It's increasing the bottom line numbers of companies and their profitability. I mean, you think about the oil prices going down. One example would be like the airlines. The airline stocks, their profitability has just shot through the roof because their bottom line cost of doing business has substantially decreased, and that's the case across a lot of industries, and even the consumer. So you go to the pump now, hey, how much does it cost you to fill up your your vehicle now? And so you've got more money, you're spending more money, people are feeling better about the economy, and again, they have more money as well and spending more. So a lot of this has to do with sentiment, and sentiment traditionally is more of a short-term, moves the markets on a short-term basis. Always fundamentals are the long-term result of a market.
So the fundamental that we have here now is that energy prices are relatively low.
Absolutely.
And it's still dropping, aren't they?
Yes. And we think that they'll stabilize soon because the companies basically don't make any money, or the integrated oil companies. It costs them between $50 and $70 before they're profitable. If it's below $50 to $70, they're not making money.
Per barrel.
Right, per barrel.
Wow, that's kind of so the only thing that could really kill this Santa Claus rally would be a spike in oil prices.
Right. And it had to be a pretty quick spike. If it stabilizes, then I think things will be just fine. But if we do get a quick rise, then it could definitely affect the rally and the economy in general.
Everything I read now it points to this energy revolution that we're having here now. With natural gas, with the fracking and all that, oil is becoming more and more plentiful in this country to the point where OPEC is actually having to drop their prices. And some say that's to break the back of the U.S. oil industry. Do you think there's any credence to that?
No, I don't think so. And the other, I was reading a statistic this morning on, I just dropped the statistic in my head, so I just lost it.
But there was a statistic.
There was one
and
on China and their role and their involvement in the oil, and I just totally dropped it.
Yeah, but the upshot of that is that they don't want to lose their share of the market.
Right.
And that's why they're dropping their prices.
Right.
Because if they keep their OPEC prices high and our American prices are low, they're going to lose market share.
And our technology that we've got now with fracking and the continued improvement in technology is bringing our cost of production down substantially. So we should be able to be competitive even with lower prices at that point. So
it really sounds, for better for worse, whatever our government does with our economy, we're poised to come roaring back within the next 10 years or so based on energy alone.
Absolutely. Well, the infrastructure alone with the energy prices, I mean, just the infrastructure, pipelines and things like that going in, and all the jobs that are going to be created and all the industry that's involved in this expansion is going to be beneficial to our GDP.
And then transportation costs, from airlines to your car to truckers to everything else. The cost of goods are going to drop because energy is going to be cheaper.
Absolutely.
Well, that is a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Heather Noyes from Raymond James Financial. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with a friend of mine, Laura Nelson from A-List Accounting. Laura, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for being had. You've taught me so much about accounting. You are my Miyagi. I am like the little Ralph Macchio of the Karate Kid of accounting. You've taught me so much over the past few weeks on what we need to be doing to keep the business healthy and to really kind of have an idea of where you're headed with it.
Right.
It's the end of the year, end of the tax year. What are things that small businesses like mine should be doing?
First, making sure you have all your expenses in an accounting system, on Excel spreadsheet, however you wanted to do it.
So a shoebox full of receipts isn't going to do it. I mean, you've got to have a system of some sort.
Correct. Or it's going to cost you, more or less,
Yeah.
if you take that to your tax person.
So I could go to A-List Accounting with a big box of receipts and say, hey, straighten me out.
Correct.
You could do it,
Yeah.
but it's going to take time, and time is money.
Correct. Yep. So to save yourself time, you would preferably put it in an accounting software.
And there's a whole bunch of different accounting
Yes.
software to choose from.
Correct.
Depending on, and you would help someone choose that if I were starting up a business and I went to you and said, I don't know what to do, Laura, but I do want to have this business.
Yes.
Could you help me choose the type
Yeah.
of software would be
Yeah.
most appropriate for my business?
Yeah. I usually go between two different softwares. Xero, which is an accounting software in the cloud, and then we have QuickBooks between desktop and QuickBooks in the cloud as well. And just figure out what their needs are and see which one best suits them.
It's very intimidating for non-accountants like myself, non-bookkeepers like myself, but the programs are so intuitive now
Correct.
that if you just have someone to guide you, like you have with us, it actually becomes pretty easy. And
Correct.
dare I say, Karen thinks it's fun. I don't know, but it could be a little fun.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
you enjoy doing it, I suppose.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it a lot. But
Yeah, of course you do, because guys like me. but save your receipts, right?
Correct. Correct.
Big thing.
Yes. And make sure you make copies of your receipts because of the thermal paper, they will fade throughout the year.
So you buy something in January, by tax time next year,
Right.
it
So
could have
you- yeah.
faded away.
Yeah, so you bring me that shoebox and it's faded. I can't give you can tell me the dollar amount, but if I don't see it, I can't give it to you.
So you have
Yep.
to take a photograph of it and just keep it in a file somewhere.
Correct.
And then what about purchases? You want to make a big purchase.
Yes. Ideally,
For your
you want to
business.
focus on asset purchases.
Mm-hmm.
So, because those bring value to your company. Of course, some depreciate, but real estate, of course, increases your value. But as far as expenses, they're just expenses. I mean, it's an easy way to get rid of cash, but ideally,
That's money
yeah.
that's not really going to
Yeah.
come back to
Yeah.
you, like an asset would.
Right. Assets will build your business.
I want to explore that more after these breaks. We'll talk a little bit about assets versus expenses and why small business people need to understand that. And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Laura Nelson from A-List Accounting and learning something during the break, of course. I know. I'm always pumping her for information. You know, free tax advice, during the breaks here. Laura, we talked about assets versus expenses. And what's the difference between the two? It's still money out of your pocket, isn't it?
Correct. But basically, your expenses are you can spend the money with it, but you pretty much have nothing at the end when it's all said and done.
Yeah, there's no equity in an expense.
Correct. But versus your asset is a tangible
Right.
property kind of thing. So therefore, it can grow in value or it can hold its value for a period of time. So you still have some equity on the books.
And it'll also depreciate too, won't it?
Yes.
I mean, like office equipment and things like that. You're using it up, and it only has a life of so long. So.
Correct. 5 years usually.
Oh, okay. So your computer you can depreciate for about 5 years, and then it's time to get a new one. Should I be thinking about buying things, or not me personally, but
Right.
any small business?
Depending on if they have cash at the end, so they don't have to pay in a lot of taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. So reinvest in your company,
Correct.
and then you'll not have to
Pay as much in
shoulder that
taxes.
burden of taxes. Now, if somebody's watching this right now and they're thinking about starting a business, can you do it all yourself? Can you just show up and have a lot of enthusiasm? I mean, or do you have to really have a plan?
Ideally, you want to have a business plan, okay? So that you can look at and analyze 6 months down the road, a year down the road, and see where you're going and make sure you're on the path in which you directed. You can change it. You don't have to keep it the same. But of course, ideally, you're going to need someone to keep the books because if you don't, like I know accounting, so therefore me doing my own accounting is okay. But as far as, say you doing your accounting, if you didn't know what you were doing, that can just cause some more.
Which I don't.
That can cause some more problems for you and your company, because then you can't see results of,
So
between the markup.
you should have an accounting system or have an accountant in place when you
Correct.
start your business.
Correct.
You should have perhaps maybe a marketer.
Yes. marketing plan in place, you know, something to get yourself out there, more or less. And then as well, you would want to have a
salesperson, perhaps?
yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, sales
you know,
team.
an accountant, marketer, sales, and unless you're a person who can, unless you're a Renaissance person who can do all
Right,
that,
right.
you're going to need to get that expertise
Right.
to bear on your
Correct.
on your business. Now, if somebody wanted to learn more about this, or if they wanted to ask you questions, how do we get in touch with you?
They can go to my website
Uh-huh.
at alistaccounting.com and then just contact me from there, or either call me at 850-249-0315.
alistaccounting.com. Laura Nelson, thank you so much for coming on the show and getting us smart on accounting issues. And if you have an interesting story or an interesting line of work, give us a call. Contact Don Arias on Facebook, and we'll get you on the show. We'll see you next time.